Welcome to the Intuitive Websites 4-Step Guide to Marketing Success on the Internet. This is Tom Young. I'm President and CEO of Intuitive Websites. And let's review our program objectives. The objective of this presentation is to educate you on the 4-step process that we've used successfully for over 10 years with hundreds of clients. The 4-step process is broken down into a series of videos that you'll find on this website. This is a marketing presentation, and the objective is to grow your business and develop an action plan. And we hope to help you do that. In this first video of the 4-step process, we're going to be taking a look at strategy, but there's 3 others to consider. Strategy is really getting a sense of the big picture and what you want to accomplish with this website, why you have a website in the first place. Design and development is the idea of actually building the website, how it looks, how it's navigated, how it's used, and so forth. A lot of times, step 2 comes before step 1, and people will go out and build a website before they haven't really formulated their strategy. The third area is driving traffic. This comes after your strategy and your website's completed because driving traffic costs money, and you don't want to do that unless your site's ready to go. And then the fourth area is website performance. And website performance is critical, and you need to monitor it on a regular basis and then make the right adjustments so that the site continues to produce for you. Let's dig a little deeper into step 1, strategy. The important things to think about in web strategy really revolve around, first, understanding the big picture. And the big picture can be summed up in, why do you have a website? What is the purpose of the website, and what do you hope to accomplish with it? And this usually begins as an idea, a business idea. Then that big picture understanding needs to translate into real data, getting information from your marketplace or understanding web data and stats. That will then support whether or not your big picture is going to be viable. It's going to get results on the web. It's also important in the big picture to understand the internet and the web in general. You really have to understand how this all works, how people use websites before you can formulate your own strategy. And of course, the strategy needs to come together in an internet marketing plan. This is the place where you write down the ideas, write down the action steps, and then move toward the design and development of your website. And then another area that's important in web strategy is who's going to get this work done, and that's the web team. And we're going to review all these things in upcoming videos and slides. So a big picture understanding. What does that mean to have a big picture understanding? Well, if you're going to be building a website, not only do you need to understand the 4 steps we're reviewing in this video, you also really need to understand what web marketing is all about and understand the fundamentals and basics of it. There's a lot of misconceptions about how websites are used and what's important to visitors and so forth. But it doesn't take a lot to go out and do your homework and do your research and come back and have an understanding of the web and how the web works. And it's also then important to realize that a website is a representation of your business. In fact, in many ways, a website is like your business plan on the web for people to see. And it's important that they see your business plan because they're trying to find out how you add value or how they might partner with you. And to do that, the website communicates what your vision is about your business and what you're all about as far as adding value to people. This being a representation of your business also ties into the fact that your business model and how successful it is tied into how successful your website can be. And that's why some of the most successful websites have great business models and they're completely transparent as far as what they're accomplishing on the web. And then finally, this is defined then in your web strategy, and this makes up the purpose of why you have a website and what are the details then in getting this thing built. So there's 4 common web strategies that I want to take a look at, and if you're trying to decide on a strategy, you're probably going to fall in one of these 4 areas or a combination of the 4. The first one I want to talk about is branding, and this is the idea of you're really not selling online or generating leads, but you're just putting thoughts and ideas in the mind of your consumers who are probably going to be purchasing in other places, not necessarily on the web. A second strategy is the concept of generating leads from your website, or they can go to a sales team, or they become marketing leads in a database or for email or whatever purposes. It's a very important strategy, and all websites should focus on doing this. The third area is selling directly online, and the media and a lot of people think that this is a critical part of websites, but it's actually not the major focus of most websites. Most websites focus on branding or sales and marketing leads. And then a fourth strategy that all websites should do is a competitive advantage. You want to think of your site as the best site in your marketplace and the best site among sites that are visited in your target market. Let's look at a few examples of a few sites I've pulled up here that follow these areas. We'll start with Coke and Pepsi, and let's look at Coke first. Obviously, they're not going to sell online. You're not going to buy Coke over the web for the most part. And so the site then is all about branding. And if you look at the Coke website, you'll see that they have a look and feel that they want you to kind of visualize as you think about their product or think about buying their product. So when you're in the grocery store or you're out at a restaurant, you'll think Coke. And then when you look at the Pepsi strategy, they have a very different look and a very different approach for how they want to brand their site. And they, right off the bat, you can see that they go for a younger demographic. Same thing, putting an image or impression in the mind that this younger demographic most associates with Pepsi and will buy that when they're trying to make a decision between Pepsi or Coke or some other soft drink. So these are examples of branding strategy. Let's take a look at a site that does a great job of converting leads, and this is eTrade, one of the most successful websites in their marketplace. And if you look at the site initially, you'll see that the left-hand nav is focusing on getting value add from eTrade, which will then tie into a conversion, and then they have a specific promotion right in the center of the page for their time for an IRA rollover checkup. And if you see, they have a Learn More button. Well, what that does is that leads you to talk to someone so that you can become a sales lead for their sales organization. And they also have an offer in here that they'll do a free IRA portfolio review, and they might even give you $500 in your account if you end up working with them. And, of course, they make that back up in interest, but the whole purpose of doing this is to drive leads for their site. When you think of e-commerce, it's not hard to think of Amazon.com, and here's an example of a great e-commerce website that there's a shopping experience that is totally tailored for the web. It's tailored for the internet, so you see products that are recommended for you. It's very easy to scan products and search products. They give you a lot of categories, but for the most part, people use the search boxes. It's very easy to go straight to a Buy Now button. They have one-click shopping, and they do a great job of tying back additional products and upselling. So Amazon.com, a great example of an e-commerce strategy for the web. When you look at the competitive situation on the web and building a competitive advantage, it's really interesting to see the difference between the Mac and Apple's approach to this and Microsoft. Because Mac has the smaller market share, they're trying to steal market share away. They're much more aggressive in their marketing, and their website is much more focused on highlighting products and ease of use and making really a big splash in the marketplace. Whereas you look at the Microsoft website, it's much more subdued, and it has a whole series of news items here on the home page. They're more concerned with just hanging on to their market share and having a more conservative approach to this competitive advantage online. So what is not a strategy? Unfortunately, a lot of websites do these things, and they're not strategies. So if you find yourself in any of these categories, just realize it's not a strategy. It's really just a way of getting your website either out of your hands or just done. And that's not a way to have an effective site. Many websites out there follow one or more of these strategies, and that's why they don't meet users' needs and they're not doing a good job. So I'm not going to go through each of these bullet items, but you can pause the video and take a second to read these. And then when we come back in our next video, we're going to actually take a look at how to develop a web strategy and get into a little bit more of the nuts and bolts of doing that.